Testing 1, 2, 3. This will be the June 21st, 2017 City Council regular meeting.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order a regular meeting of the City Council Satellite Beach, June 21st, 2017, approximately 7 p.m. Please join me in a moment of silence and the pledge. The pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Before I go to citizens' comments, Chief, I want to thank your department on behalf of our council, the citizens, for your drop in crime rate again on the latest report. So please pass it to your staff. Great job.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. At this time, open it up for public comment on non-agenda items. The floor is open. Hearing none, move on to agenda item 4, City Council comments. Mindy, you'd like to start? Yes.
I have none.
Oh, good. Amazing.
Yeah, I'll keep it brief, I promise. At the last CRA meeting, I mentioned the fact that we hadn't heard anything from the League of Cities about our proposal for a presentation, and darned if about 5 days later we heard back that we have been offered the opportunity to do a 1-hour presentation at the leagues. So I just wanted to say, Dom, thank you for directing it to Mike and getting it all through. And
Glad it worked out.
I'm gonna get with Courtney and I are going to do the presentation together. I'm going to get with Chief, both of the chiefs, and Rec, and I'm going to have John Fergus help me pull some data on how this whole process has evolved, just so we can get it out there. So, but thanks for the help, guys, and we'll. I don't know what day we're on, but we're on down there at some point. So, or over in Orlando. And thank you, Courtney, for being willing to help.
Yeah.
So that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Well, nothing real much to say, except I did my first Florida League of Cities meeting, and I sat on my first committee, and it was urban planning and economic development, which was quite interesting, and it was my first experience, and hopefully we'll have more to say with the next meetings. We had to make some decisions, but got to meet a lot of the other city officials from all over the state, which was really interesting, and can't wait to go back, make some decisions.
On the 8th, I attended the Satellite Beach Retirement Board meeting for the police and fire and the general employees. On Monday night, the 12th, the Space Coast League of Cities meeting, monthly meeting. Like Mindy, I also attended policy committee meetings on the 15th and the 16th. We actually did a legislative wrap-up for the league on Thursday afternoon, and then Friday was the policy committee meeting, and on Thursday night, I had an advocacy meeting with the Florida League of Cities, and I've been appointed as the vice chair of the advocacy committee. So that was pretty neat. And also, on Friday night when I got home, I went to the Florida Inland Navigation Board meeting that was up in Cocoa Beach, and Jerry Sansom went over some of the projects and some of the cities that got funding and different things that happened in the county also with some of the funding. And basically, I brought home a book that he said, we could bring home to our cities, and it showed some of the projects that have been done through the FIND organization. So I gave that to Courtney. She has it, and that's what I.
Thank you.
That's what I got.
Okay, thank you very much. I also attended the Space Coast League of Cities and also the Florida League of Cities over in Orlando. I sat on the environmental panel, and interesting. What they asked us to do was pick something that all the cities could fight on, and stormwater was by far the #1 pick there, so that is one of the things they're going to fight big on in Tallahassee. Also, I attended meetings with Courtney with the St. John's and the DeSoto Park project. Very interesting meetings. I think we're going to turn out okay there. Very interesting. We met twice. The first meeting, we could very much tell was probably nothing was going to get done. The second meeting, with help from some people, I think was a big breakthrough. and I think everything will turn out good for us to continue with that project. Also, Courtney and I attended a retirement for Colonel Wallace at the base, and I'd never been to one before. An amazing man. I mean, I think if you were there at it, realize what a great guy, and we had the ability to work with him, and I know he's very anxious to be part of the city, wants to live around here, but it was very good. So that's all. Anybody else? Any other comments? Okay, thank you. City Manager's report. Courtney?
Thank you, Mayor. We do have an event coming up which is basically a family swim night at Satellite High School. This is on June 29th, July 13th, July 27th from 6 to 8 p.m. It's called Family Fun Swim Night, and you can basically use the diving board, lap swim, and bring your inflatables, and the cost is $5 per family per night. We have some good news that's not on the report, and that's Councilman Montanaro has won again the Florida League of Cities Home Rule Hero Award. So we're excited about that. It's nice to see our city be recognized for that, but also Councilman Montanaro has been recognized for that for the 4th year in a row now. Yeah.
Congratulations, man.
We have been approved for our DeSoto Stormwater Enhancement Grant by the Indian River Lagoon Council National Estuary Program in the amount of $68,000 for the total project. And this project was listed in the top 5 projects for this grant type, and this is out of 3 different counties. So I thought that was pretty exciting. And so this is their first round of grants that they've done, and we were one of those recipients. So good job to Nicholas Sanzone, who's our environmental coordinator. We're very excited about that. We have a correction on the applying for State Farm Neighborhood Assistant Grant item in my report. We are going to apply for this grant to try to work with FPL to put solar trees in our city facilities. However, when we started discussing with FPL, we realized that we weren't going to end up applying for the grant, but we are lucky that we started that conversation, because now we're in conversations with FPL to put solar trees in our facilities. So hopefully we'll get that done. I received a thank you card and donation from Dominic and Barbara Montanaro, thanking the paramedic program for all they do for the community, and that's attached. Thank you, Dominic. Chief Pearson received a letter from Satellite Beach volunteer Robert Becker for the last police academy class and expressed his admiration for the entire department. The police also received a thank you note from Kim Mahler for the Citizens Police Academy and everything the department does for the community. I think the police are definitely on a list here. I received a thank you note from the Wilkinsons, thanking the city for the help that they receive as elderly residents. They also thank Sally McAllister and Mike Rosas for the weekly visits, and Melanie and Eric at the fire department for being helpful. I received an email from Sarah Schaefer thanking the county and staff for organizing the town hall meetings, which was nice. And before I go into action items, I did want to talk about the grant permitting issue that permitting issue we were dealing with over at the DeSoto Field project. We had some issues with Florida Fish and Wildlife in decreasing the flow of discharge going into the canal because in their minds it was considered warm water, and that was contributing to the reason why the manatees congregate in that area. Obviously we had a concern with that because the discharge that's going into the canal is polluted, and the whole point of the project was to clean that pollution. So we believe that in working, we actually called, because I've been through these tough permitting projects before, and we knew that we were going to get just moved from one agency to another. So we got Representative Altman, Senator Mayfield, and Congressman Posey involved in the very beginning. And because of, and Senator Mayfield really led the charge, we were able to get a solution done today, which has very little changes to what we originally submitted. And we believe that it's also going to, protect the manatees at the same time. So we did come up with a really good solution very quickly, and will be permitted hopefully in time for us to submit our TMDL grant.
What's the solution?
We are going to still treat in the winter months, and it's at a short time period that they're still trying to figure out. And we're really looking at maybe 30-day time period now, but they're asking us to stop treating the groundwater, but still treating the stormwater. So most of the pollution that we know now is coming into the lagoon from groundwater, and so we're trying to treat that too. And so they believe that the groundwater is the source of the warm water. So that's really what it is. We did tell them that we wanted to wean the manatees off that within 4 years, and we were talking about having another mitigation site in the beginning, and I'm not real sure whether that's still there or not, but we did say that if we were going to mitigate at City Hall, that we would have to have in the permit our ability to treat the groundwater there in the future. We didn't want to have the other problem to happen in another location, so.
Didn't they also say, Courtney, on that we would only have to stop treating the winter months when the temperature got to that water temperature hit 68, or they told us a degree? Are they going to?
No, because that would put us in a daily monitoring situation, and I don't really want to get, so they're.
And are we done in like 3 years on this, like we asked them
Yeah.
to be?
So,
So that's settled, we believe. So we're submitting our permit now, and we'll see how that moves forward. So when we get a moment, we'll need to send, our thank yous to our elected officials, and for their hard work. And then to St. John's was a real help in this, and Nick Abrams, who works at St. John's as the intergovernmental affairs coordinator, his involvement started to change things because he was able to coordinate everyone. So we probably need to give a little thank you note to them too. I also wanted to, we could just go into the action items. As part of our business awareness initiatives, we need to join the Melbourne Chamber as well, because we do have some businesses here, since we're sandwiched between Cocoa Beach and Melbourne, that are also members of the Melbourne Chamber. And so when they do their ribbon cuttings and things like that, we want to make sure that we're involved with that. So the membership for that organization is at $1,270. So they will come out and do the ribbon cuttings and all that for our businesses when we get started, attend our events, have the, events here in Satellite Beach as well. And then our businesses would now be involved in their events as well. This is an unbudgeted expense, and staff is requesting that this be approved by council.
Okay, great.
I'll make a motion to approve the annual membership cost for $1,270 for the Melbourne Chamber of Commerce.
I second that.
Motion by Councilman Montanaro, second by Councilwoman Gibson. It is an action item, so I'll open up for public comment on this action item. Here are no public comment from council? Here are none. Lenore?
Councilman Breimer?
yes.
Vice Mayor Osmer?
Yes.
Councilman Gibson?
Yes.
Councilman Montanaro?
Yes.
Mayor Patino?
Yes, motion passes.
I think there's 3 people on the dais right now with a cold. Mine started today. I think Chief Pearson has had one for a week now.
I got one.
Yeah. Well, Chief waited a week before he went to the doctor, so we can all make fun of him for that. Yeah. We are recommending to cancel the July 5th City Council meeting to allow the city, we normally do this every year right before the budget's turned in, and the second meeting in July, just to give us time to actually do the budget. It's a lot of work for us, and to have to do an agenda at the same time is hard. So we would recommend to cancel that meeting if possible.
Okay. We can just have consensus on
Yes.
that.
I'm good with that.
Okay.
Okay?
Since it's an action item, open up for public comment on the second action item. Here are none. Back to council. Frederick? Okay. Courtney?
Florida statutes require elected municipal officials to complete annual ethics training. Very exciting. Attorney Shepard is available to provide the training again on the following dates: August 1st, September 7th, 13th, or 14th. I have already gotten a request for August 1st, so if everybody can meet that date, then everybody could be there if possible. Yeah?
Okay.
I have an appointment that I might need to move what time and how long is the training?
It's 4 hours.
What did we do
When
last
is your
time?
appointment? Because we could do it in the afternoon or the morning, whatever
I
you
can make some changes. My hair, wait, my,
Oh.
she's my hairdresser, so.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
That's pretty funny.
Afternoon will be better.
Afternoon, please.
Afternoon?
Yeah.
You want afternoon? Okay.
Okay.
Right after lunch when everybody's nice and full?
Yep.
And the only other thing I wanted to say was, yes, we did get the invite to come to the League of Cities. That's a real honor, I have to say. There's not a lot of presentations that are done at that conference, so we will be like 1 out of 4, which I thought was really neat. So that's very exciting that our city will be highlighted at that conference. So you know,
Great.
thank you for thinking of that, because it's a good opportunity.
Thank you.
Courtney, one other item we might want to at least put on the radar screen. The League of Cities in August,
Yes.
Yes.
the second council meeting in August being the 16th,
Yes,
and there's that marijuana class
yes.
then, so
I would recommend canceling that meeting, because I'll be at that class,
I know.
Suzanne needs to be at that class. We have to write those ordinances
Right.
and understand
I'm
the
planning.
law, and, you know, I know all of you will be.
Okay. Is that consensus for everybody to
Yes.
work? I think most of us are going to be out.
Be there
that
anyways,
class.
yeah.
Okay.
Great. I just want to make sure I know I've been bugging Lenore, she's been bugging me, so I can take care of that. Thank you.
Mhm.
Any further comments or input to the city manager?
No.
Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 6, discuss, take action on the school's resource officer renewal. Chief?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, council, thank you very much. You will notice in your package that we received the contracts for this year, for the next school year to renew for the school resource officers. This has been many, many years going, and the amount has been raised by $500 this year. Last year was $32,500 per officer. This year it's $33,000 per officer, and this contract is almost exactly identical with just the number change. It has been for years and years, and we have no issues with anything in there. As far as requirements, it's the same. It's the same that every other municipality signs that also has school resource officers. And if it's your pleasure, I would like your approval so we can maintain that very valuable program.
Thank you, Chief, very much. Discussion from council?
I'd like to make a motion to authorize our city manager to execute the fiscal year 17-18 school resource officer contract renewal.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Gibson, second by Vice Mayor Osmer. Since there was no discussion from it, I'll open up for public comment on agenda item 6. Hearing none, back to council. Any further? Courtney? Lenore?
Councilman Breimer?
Yes.
Councilman Montanaro?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Osmer?
Yes.
Councilman Gibson?
Yes.
Mayor Patino?
Yes, motion passes. Chief, great program.
Yes, sir.
Mayor
Thank you very
Officer,
much.
Thank you very much.
I will pass that on, sir. Thank you.
Just a quick question, is it the same officers every year, or is it going to be different officers this time, or is it?
No, it's going to be the same, Sergeant Creature and Greta Valiente. There will be a change in the next few years because Sergeant Creature is getting pretty close to retirement, and those will be some large shoes to fill, both figuratively and literally.
Yes.
So it's-
I remember him when I was.
Yes. But that's, yes, very good
It's
question.
been, you know, Nick Abrams at the St. Johns River Water Management District was a PAL graduate, if you will, and credits his success to Officer Couture.
He was in one of the first
Yep.
programs that Pal did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Chief.
Yes.
Okay. Moving on to agenda item 7, discuss, take action on improvements to Satellite Beach Dog Park.
I'm going to make sure that I use a different microphone than Chief, because he's sick. I don't want to get sick.
He's not toxic, no.
I'll give you a hug later, don't worry.
Unless it's violent.
Okay, so, thank you, council. We had some attendees of our dog park, some regular attendees that go every day, approach the staff about some improvements they would like to see at the dog park. So I met with them out at the park, and we walked around and compiled a list of the things that you see in your packet. The city is applying for a non-matching grant right now, up to $15,000. And we have put in a request for the capital improvement plan for next budget year for $10,000 to help cover the cost of some of these wish list items. So,
To give you some context, when we do things like skate park renovations, the people next door start seeing that and go, hey, you know, when are you going to do this area? And one of the leaders of that group is Alan Dillon, who goes to the dog park quite a bit, and he was the one that arranged all the owners of, or not, but attendees at the dog park to help come up with this list. But we wanted to bring this to you before the next budget year, largely so we can unveil the possibility of these, or the plan for these improvements at the renaming ceremony for former Councilwoman Dot. So that's why we wanted to get your approval. We didn't want to, you know, hey, we're going to do this subject to council approval. So we wanted to make sure that, you know, you approved that and we could put it on a board and kind of ribbon cut that at the dedication.
Okay, thank you very much. Discussion from council?
I think one of the things too, you know, with Alan being Alan, I think some of the volunteer hours that are going to be probably dedicated on behalf of people were probably, you know, instigated by Alan, so thank you, Alan.
And, you know, if you go there, it's been a huge asset to the community from day one. Like Taya was speaking to someone from Indialantic the other day, and they're looking at it now because, you know, people are using the ballparks and stuff, and obviously there's a need, so.
We have users from all over Beachside, all over Beachside. So some of the people that actually served on this committee didn't live in the city of Satellite Beach because they go to the dog park every day. But one of the things that, you know, I just want to emphasize, there's some things in here that most people would consider, you know, maintenance, but we have maintained that park pretty well. It's just after, you know, so many years, it gets to the point where we have to, like, you know, replace some of this stuff, and that's where we're at, is pretty much a renovation, not really just a maintenance thing.
Well, I see the part about the expansion, and is that going to, how much are we looking at possibly expanding it? Because I was trying to visualize expansion, and I can't in my mind.
You're sitting at the skate park, and you look towards the back of the skate park where the old industrial park is, that's still there. Right behind there is all that dirt. That's where we're expanding it from. Yeah. So it'll make it look better, too, because right now it's just dirt. And it'd be nice to have it sodded and, you know, all that.
Do you have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve staff recommendation for improvements and expansion at Satellite Beach Dog Park to be included in the 17-18 budget.
I have a motion by Councilman Montanaro, second by Vice Mayor Osman. At this time, open up agenda item 7 for public comment. Hearing none, back to council. Any further council?
I'd just like to say, I think this is the way it really should work, when you actually have citizens that are using it, and the citizens come to the city and say, hey, we'd like some improvements, this is what we see would benefit us, and then it comes through the system. And I mean, this is great. I mean, obviously, if we're not down there walking our dogs, we don't know what it's like down there. We're not there to see it. So I just think this is a good thing. I think it's good relationship that we have with our citizens, that they're, you know, brave enough to speak up and say something and ask staff and bring it to council to do this. I said this is good progress, I think, for our city to do this.
Any other?
Our citizens also are very brave, I can tell you that. We have very brave citizens. They have no problem telling me what they want, for the most part.
That's good.
Hearing no further, vote on.
Councilman Gibson?
Yes.
Councilman Breimer?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Osborne?
Yes.
Councilman Montanaro?
Yes.
Mayor Stevens?
Yes, motion passes. Thank you, Cassie. Cassie, one of the things, has any of the leagues approached you yet? Remember, we discussed that with budget coming up, and things that, you know, they need on
About
fields.
improvements and things like that, they have not. And I need to speak with them because I have other leagues now reaching out to us for use on our fields, and I need to know what
Going on.
Beachside Little League's going to be needing this fall. So, but they just got done, like, I think they wrapped up a tournament last weekend, so.
I just like to make sure we get the improvements in, or whether some of them that talk to me, fence repairs and stuff, and I don't want
Yeah.
Alan to be at the last minute trying to do stuff, so. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And moving on to agenda item 8, discuss take action on partnership with the City of Indian Harbor Beach for canal cleanup project. Alan?
Take the safe microphone, she's not sick. Good evening. What is before you this evening is basically a cleanup project in cooperation with Indian Harbor Beach. The drainage area known as Satellite Ditch on the south end of the city, between basically Virginia Drive and the southwest portion or the southwest border of the city that runs behind the sports park and in between where the county sewer facility is. That ditch back there has become quite clogged with vegetation. It's actually very full. After Matthew, we went out and had to clean some trees that had fallen from folks' backyards that live on Satellite Ave. Pulled quite a few trees out. We had to access it from the Indian Harbor Beach side because they have a road that runs along that. But anyway, we started doing a lot more work then, and I kind of thought, well, this is borders Indian Harbor Beach. I think we need to get them involved in this a little bit. So did some research. Robert keeps pretty good records of all the stormwater stuff that we do and all of our stormwater records, and he happened to have a map that showed the property distribution for that canal, and basically 75% of that canal is in Indian Harbor Beach and belongs to Indian Harbor Beach. So they got on board very quickly, wanted to get it cleaned out as well because it does affect their drainage. So they went out, got bids, came to us with the number that you see on the attachment. It's a total of $70,000, where we are paying $18,520 to get that cleaned up, and I think that's a good investment. So,
Thank you. And this is not, is any of this related to Matthew? We wouldn't get FEMA reimbursement on it.
no, this is strictly maintenance, and it hasn't been maintained in forever, only because we don't have the equipment to access it. It's pretty deep. It's probably, I want to say, 10 feet from the bank down to the bottom of the ditch in some spots. Some spots probably maybe higher.
Is this something we're going to have to do every 4 or 5 years to plan for this, or is this a once in every 10 year on that?
I think it probably bears watching. Once we get it good and cleaned out, then I think it will be easier to maintain with herbicides and things like that. But, the push now is to not use that type of material because of the lagoon. So, it may be that, but this initial cleanup is going to be, the reason I think it's so expensive is because it's going to be so involved. Later on down the line, if you're just doing quick maintenance, it may not be as expensive, so.
Thank you.
When you have infrastructure that borders cities, and you don't know who is responsible, things get like this, So the fact that now we know is one good thing, and then getting it done, now we have a precedent to keep coming back together as partners to get it, to keep it up.
Questions from council? Do a motion?
Make a motion to approve the reimbursement of $18,520 to Indian Harbor Beach for a portion of the cost of cleaning the satellite drainage ditch.
I have a motion by Councilman
Second.
Montero, second by Vice Mayor Osmer. At this time, open up for public comment on agenda item 8. Hearing no public comment, back to council. Any further? Lenore?
Councilman Gibson?
Yes.
Councilman Breimer?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Osmer?
Yes.
Councilman Taylor?
Yes.
Mayor Patino?
Yes, motion passes. Thank you, sir. Alan, thanks. Moving on to agenda item 9, discuss, take action on the lease agreement between the city and the Police Athletic League, referred to as PAL.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
As you all are aware, we just recently completed an in-house renovation of the teen zone. We had a budget of $75,000, and we completed it for much less and saved $55,000. So it was a job well done by our Public Works Department. As a result of just going through that process and discussion about moving forward and valuing all the services that PAL has provided to the city for many, many years, we decided to formalize our relationship with them in terms of the use of the facility. And what you have in this agenda item is a very straightforward lease agreement. Because of the services they provide to our residents and their children, because we value their services as a nonprofit, we've done what you typically do in a lease agreement like this, and their lease term is $1 a year. There's some different responsibilities in there, but it's very straightforward, and there's really no substantive change to the use that PAL has of the facility. We're just glad that they're continuing to provide the services that they do. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. I sat in on the meeting with PAL here. Was there a couple of items, if I remember, they wanted change in there? Is that being?
That's correct. We made some changes to the terms of the insurance. That was all agreed upon, and Attorney Beadle has reviewed that, and we're all in agreement on that. We also changed the overall use of the facility in terms of when PAL is not using the facility, the city, Cassie specifically, will reach out, and if we've got someone who's looking for space to rent and ours are full, we can potentially look at using that space when they're not using it, essentially.
Was there something inside we needed to move a wall, or we needed to move something for their?
There's
still things that we need to
Are they
do
still
there,
working?
but that's not
Yes.
part of.
Okay, I just want to make sure, because that was brought up at the meeting. Okay, thank you. Do I have a motion or further discussion?
I'll make a motion to authorize the city manager to execute the lease agreement with Satellite Beach Community Services, PAL Incorporated.
Second.
I have a motion by Vice Mayor Osmer, second by Councilman Gibson. At this time, I'll open it up for public comment on agenda item 9. Hearing no public comment, back to council. Any council? Hearing none, Lenore?
Councilman Breimer?
Yes.
Councilman Montanaro?
Yes.
Councilman Gibson?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Osmer?
Yes.
Mayor Patino?
Yes, motion passes. Okay, thank you, Sam. Moving on to agenda item 10, discuss, take action on facade repair to the David R. Schechter Community Center and request for bid number /17-04.
Good evening. Finally, before you, we have a repair for the Schechter Center that's been damaged since Hurricane Matthew. I know there have been inquiries made by quite a few residents as to the condition and, when we're going to get it repaired. Dealing with FEMA has not been easy, so that was part of the holdup. The other part of the holdup was trying to find a contractor who could actually replace what's there. However, in the conversation with FEMA, we thought that it would be wiser to mitigate the problem that we have every time we have a high wind. That facade is damaged in some form or fashion. So we thought it would be wise to go to a different type of material, change the look of the building slightly, update it maybe a little, and not have to deal with issues like this going forward, not having to worry about storms and things like that. So we looked at, we put out a bid. We didn't receive any bids. A request for bids, we received none. So we started making phone calls, and the folks that would call us back are the folks that are in your packet. And we are recommending that we use the extreme plastering and stucco because of the maintenance issues going forward after that. I realize it's cheaper to use the hardy board, but the hardy board, we can fall into the same trap because it is lapped. If you get a wind caught up under something, it could
Peels
get,
right off.
potentially could get ripped off. So we'd like to go with the stucco, and we will replace the sign with flat letters as opposed to the block letters that were up there, replacing the name, the David R. Schechter name. The painting and wallpapering, we had a slight change to that. The painting was going to be $4,200. However, when we changed the stucco, there's more material had to be used for stucco, and I don't know if you have the updated version. And it was $5,600 because it has to be sealed quite a few times, so that's more labor, that's more material that they're using, and more paint, basically, because stucco does have a tendency to, absorb the paint. So with that, I'll answer any questions you have.
I have one question.
Sure.
August 12th, a special day. What's the chances of it being complete by then?
Well, upon your approval, we're going to press this pretty hard and try to get it taken care of for August 12th.
Thank you.
We know what day that is.
I do.
I do.
Thank you very much. Questions from council?
I'll make a motion to approve the expenditure of $48,205 for the repair of the David R. Schechter Center Community facade, to include 39, well, actually, it's going to be more than 48,205.
Right, you're going to take this
So
difference.
I'm just going to include the 39,905 for stucco work, $5,600 for sealing and painting, and $4,100 for the replacement of the building lettering,
And the total's $49,605.
for a total of $49,605.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Montanaro, second by Vice Mayor Osmer, and this is something that we put in for FEMA too, correct?
Yes.
Or we will? Okay. Further discussion from council before I open it up? This time, open up agenda item 10 for public comment. Hearing none? Hearing none, back to council? No further? Lenore?
Councilman Gibson?
Yes.
Councilman Breimer?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Osmer?
Yes.
Councilman Montanaro?
Yes.
Mayor King?
Yes, motion passes. Thank you. Alan,
Just,
thank you.
Alan, one thing, you do know how to spell Schechter, right? Can you wrote it?
Schechter.
Whoa.
That name is burned into my mind. I've been here for 28 years. I know how to spell Schechter.
Works for me.
Thank you.
Plus, we rewrite it a lot.
Okay, moving on to agenda item 11. Discuss, take action on award of
want that
request for
one.
proposal for newsletter publication services. RFP number 16/17-05. Suzanne?
Thank you, Mayor. So this is, it was time for us to take our newsletter services out to bid. We wanted to just go out into the market and see what the pricing was. We also were hoping to improve, if we got good enough pricing where we could save some money, we were hoping to do a full-color version of the Beachcaster. So just to walk you through the RFP process, we did put it out on May 11th. We received bids back on May 26th, and we received responses from 4 different companies. Address and Mail was the current vendor, All Service Graphics, Digital Graphics, and Martin Lithograph, doing business as MLI Marketing Solutions. We met as an evaluation committee on June 6th to review the bids, and we reviewed them based on price, responsiveness to the scope of work, and the number and scope of conditions attached to the bid. The primary deciding factors for us in looking at those 4 companies' proposals was related to the overall price and the willingness of vendors to provide us with a 3-year rate guarantee, which is one of the things we were looking for. So as a result, we were able to get, several companies gave us 3-year rate guarantees, with the exception, of course, of the postage costs, which we will pay as those change over time. And we were able to get costs that were so favorable that we're able to still save money based on our current budget and do a full-color version of the Beachcaster going forward. So we're really excited about that. In your original version of the agenda memo, the one that was originally published, I had made a mistake when I wrote the scoring and Councilman Montanaro, I appreciate you bringing that to our attention. The ranking, the first ranked vendor was Digital Graphics. Their score was a 90, but I wrote 60. And the third ranked was MLI Marketing. It should have been 60, and I wrote 90. So I flipped the two numbers. But the bottom line is the tabulation sheets match the correct scoring, which is the first ranked firm was Digital Graphics for a score of 90. So we're recommending award to Digital Graphics. We will have a 3-year rate guarantee. We will have a full-color Beachcaster, and we are anticipating saving around $4,200 each year going forward, contingent on postage costs, of course, which we can't control. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Council, questions?
Make a motion to approve the award and request for proposal number 1617-05 for newsletter publication services to Data Management Association of Brevard.
Thank you. I have a motion by Councilman Montanaro, second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Gibson. Further discussion from council? At this time, open up for public comment on agenda item 11. Hearing none, back to council.
I kind of just think this is another example of staff looking at things differently and saving the city money, so thank you very much for...
Great job on that.
Suzanne, appreciate it. Laura?
Councilman Breimer?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Osmer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gibson?
Yes.
Councilman Montanaro?
Yes.
Mayor Patino?
Yes, motion passes. Also, staff, thank you very much for the Beachcaster this time. Saw it today. Great job. It was well done, and I think a great article on...
Vacation rentals.
Yes, great. Moving on to agenda item 12, discuss take action on joining the Climate Change Mayors Network. Courtney?
Thank you, Mayor. As you know, we've received several requests from residents to join the Climate Change Mayors Network, which is Mayor's National Climate Action Agenda. And basically, this is a mayor-to-mayor network of U.S. mayors collaborating on the climate. It's led by Mayor Eric Garcetti of Los Angeles. And while there are no binding commitments as a climate mayor's member, cities that are pursuing actions to achieve emissions reduction target, and there's 3 basically goals that we're trying to achieve as part of that network. And that's developing a community greenhouse gas inventory, setting near and long-term targets to reduce emissions, and developing a climate action plan aligned with city targets. And this is an interesting take because while we have done several, years of work on reacting to the effects of climate change, we really have, while we have our sustainability plan, we haven't done a lot in terms of planning for the reduction of emissions. So this would be part of that, work that we would be doing. In addition, members of the Mayor's Network are asked to join in occasional letters and statements, as well as more substantive initiatives. They hold a monthly coordination call for each city's sustainability climate lead to participate and share progress. So that's another attractive part of this, is because we'll be able to communicate with other cities and find out what they're doing. And we have fashioned, they provided a template for the letter. We kind of massaged it to make it more about the issue and less about politics. So we're trying to focus on that instead of, any other things that may be out there. So with that, we are recommending that we do join the Climate Change Mayors Network and authorize the city manager authorize the mayor to sign the letter and send it out.
So moved.
I have a motion by Councilman Breimer. Second. Second by Vice Mayor Osmer. Further discussion from council?
I just want to say, sorry.
No, please.
I just want to say the whole reducing the greenhouse gases. I feel that we are making steps towards that by doing a pedestrian-friendly, city, and then working on having all those bus pads there so people might be more inclined to take public transit. I mean, we're definitely moving in a direction towards that.
I mean, we are definitely on the path. We just haven't set out specific targets for that, which I think would be great if we could do that. And try to get our business community involved and and get our residents involved and really work on kind of looking at that holistically, not just from a sustainability standpoint, but from an emissions standpoint, which is actually, when you look at climate work, statewide in Florida, most of the efforts have been on how do we address sea level rise and the impacts of that, but not really how do we prevent it from continuing to happen, and that's where this kind of comes in on that.
Thank you. Any further discussion from council? Hearing none, I'll open up for public comment on agenda item 12. Hearing no public comment, back to council. Hearing none, Lenore?
Councilman Gibson?
Yes.
Councilman Montanaro?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Osmer?
Yes.
Councilman Breimer?
Yes.
Mayor Patino?
Yes. Motion passes. Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 13, discuss, take action on city priorities for the 2018 Space Coast League of City legislative priorities to be presented to the Bavard delegation.
We've been asked to submit priorities like we do every year. They're compiled into one big spreadsheet. The board sits and goes through those and then picks the top priorities for the Space Coast League of Cities to basically, when we're meeting with our local delegation, what to emphasize. We try to keep it countywide, just to let you know. So while we may have an issue here, like where we want funding for something, or that would be a City of Satellite Beach priority, not a Space Coast League of Cities priority. So you'll see here listed some of the other priorities that were submitted by other cities. All of them I would recommend are very good priorities to have. So we could certainly turn in a list of all of them if we wanted to, and then allow the board to whittle it down. But community redevelopment agencies, of course, home rule is a big issue. Opposing the firefighter cancer presumption bill, and obviously any effort in sustained Indian River Lagoon funding. Protecting municipal revenues, this is going to be a big issue for the next legislative session, and state road improvements. I'm not real sure that really applies to us, but and then the Brevard EOC replacement would be a big issue for us.
That's been approved already. The governor actually signed the bill on that, if I'm not mistaken. So that one's taken care of.
Yes and no, they approved the engineering for that.
Okay.
So the
funding for
construction
the building
of it-
itself hasn't been done yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think, to me, the three of them are home rule, Indian River Lagoon, and protecting municipality revenues are three that really need to be there. Because I think, I think that, state road improvements, yes, we need to, but for us as a city, we have a state road, but we have these other issues, so.
I'd have to agree with that, Frank, yeah.
I'm good with those.
Yeah,
We could add to it, that's just one.
Yeah, and I think we ought to just keep doing with the cancer presumption also. That needs to be there because,
and I think that's a league priority,
Yeah,
so,
it is.
we may not have to deal with that, on a local level, because that is a league priority. And, from what we understand for the revenue issue, is that with the $25,000 homestead exemption, the state is now reviewing, or legislators are now hearing from the chambers who are upset about the obvious impacts to the business community from that exemption, because you're basically just shifting the tax burden from the homeowners to the businesses. And so after that, I highly doubt they're going to say, oops, we made a mistake with this exemption. What they'll do is start looking at bills that will limit our ability to raise our millage rate as a response to it. So that, I believe, in my opinion, I don't think next year is a year to ask for anything. It's a year to, it's defense. So, we're just going to be up there defending ourselves, pretty much.
Thank you. Further discussion on how we want to handle these, just consensus, or?
I think, home rule, the Indian River Lagoon, and protecting our revenues are probably the three that are, crucial to us. We would submit these to the Space Coast League of Cities, and there are probably other recommendations that are going to come from other cities, so I'm good with those.
Thank you. It is an agenda item, so I will open up agenda item 13 for public comment. Hearing none, back to council. That suits everyone?
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 14, which is cancellation notice of the July 5th meeting. would be,
So we have another cancellation for the meeting in August, or do we?
We'll do that on the 19th.
Okay.
I just want to reason I brought it up is because Lenora was making reservations.
As of right now, on the July 19th meeting, I will be in California.
Okay.
I will not be here either.
On the 19th?
I will be en route to Iowa in a car. But
You might want to reschedule that meeting. Let's work on that, because we need to have that meeting. We can't have two
Yeah, I
meetings in a
think
row.
there's too many, there's things we just got
Oh,
to,
yeah.
just to handle.
And I have to give you the budget.
Let me ask you that, well, I don't know if this gives you enough
We do
time,
it
just
earlier.
looking here. We canceled the 5th because you wanted that time.
Mm-hmm.
Can we switch the 19th and the 5th?
Well, can we do it in the middle between those two?
I was just,
Wouldn't matter.
What about the
Okay.
12th?
How about the week after?
Or yeah, the week after.
July 12th, I'm not here.
And I'm not here
Well,
until the
that's-
6th either.
okay. The only reason I was bringing it up is does it matter which meeting we missed there, Courtney, for you from budget?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, because we just wanted to cancel so we had time to do the budget. We have to turn the budget in at the second meeting in July. That's the limitation in the charter.
That's the date, okay. Peace.
Can we do it on a day other than Wednesday?
How does our charter read on that? Jim, do we?
I can't remember what I know that you're supposed to have a meeting every month. I can't remember what it specifically talks about days.
Okay. Staff, or everyone here too, because we start picking them and someone can't make this or that, obviously, the items that will be on that agenda are fairly important that we're all here, so.
Can we look at the 11th or the 13th?
I'm gone from the 8th to the 15th.
Oh, okay. And is everybody here maybe on the 17th, 18th? No?
I'm here on the 17th and 18th.
I leave the 14th, I don't get back till the 30th.
Ooh,
Yeah.
And when you gone?
I'm going 17 through 24. I'm back on 24. So I can do the 24th if you want.
But there's no way we could do this on the 5th, because we'd all be here on the 5th.
Well, the problem is,
Yeah, we can. It's just that we're now rushing to do all that because we thought it was going to be the 19th.
let me throw this in just for a second. I understand the item that we really need to all be here, but why couldn't we do that item on the 2nd of August, since we all would be here then? Is it?
Because we're turning in we could. I'll just turn the budget in without a meeting.
No, you're going to do the budget. We're going to have a meeting. We'll have a quorum, but with that, I think that.
The budget has to be turned in the second meeting in July
Right.
by the charter.
But what I'm saying is, we're going to have a quorum for that meeting. There'll be 3 of us here. But the item that is scheduled, that you put on there concerning RVs and so forth, is an item I think that council needs to be here as a whole. If that's the case, then why don't we move that agenda item just to the 2nd?
That's fine.
Still hold the meeting on July 19th. You will have a quorum. Okay?
Can I read part of the charter? City manager's proposed budget, no later than the first regular city council meeting in August. The city manager shall present a proposed budget to the city council for all operations of city government for the next fiscal year. In addition to any others, the city council may request the proposed budget shall contain the following, and then it describes the information. So, my question to you is you've got a special meeting to go over the budget. Could you not provide that at a meeting before that?
Yeah, we can give you the budget. Well, we don't have to have a meeting to give you the budget. I just have to, for some reason, I thought it was the second meeting in
Right,
July.
but if you kept the 19th, you could just move that particular item to the 2nd. That way everybody's here. Isn't that what we were trying to really accomplish on the 19th?
Yes.
So you keep the 19th, you'll have a quorum, right? Here,
Yep.
Not here.
you're not here, here, you're here.
On the 2nd of August?
No, July 19th.
Okay.
Who's here on the 19th?
Oh, I'm here on the 19th.
Thank you.
Now,
Right.
You got three.
We got three, so we have a quorum, we can do that meeting, you can throw it, present as the budget.
We're not presenting the budget, I'm just turning it into you. So we can
Thank
do
you.
that on August 2nd.
Right.
And then we can have the RV discussion on August 2nd.
Well,
Is
that's
that
what-
correct?
right, just the
Okay.
way everybody's
So then
here.
on the 19th, we'll just have a regular meeting,
Okay?
okay, with three people. Yeah.
Right.
With-
Okay.
Is that good? I mean,
So we'll
I
just
think
get
that's-
regular business out of the way
Right.
for the second to be the big meeting.
Okay.
Okay, is that suitable?
Is that okay with everybody?
Yep.
Okay.
Works for
Thank
me.
you, Lenore. That helps.
Thanks, Lauren.
I will be in a car, so I will much rather be sitting up here than driving in. I'll be in that.
Okay, moving on to agenda item 15, approval of minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the city council regular meeting minutes from May 17th, 2017, as submitted.
I have a motion by Vice Mayor Osmer, second by Councilman Montanaro. Any discussion? Hearing none. Lenore?
Councilman Gibson?
Yes.
Councilman Breimer?
Yes.
Councilman Montanaro?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Osmer?
Yes.
Mayor Patino?
Yes, motion passes. Any further business before council? Hearing none, thank you, staff. Thank you, everybody. Meeting's adjourned.
Chair, please.